The smell of burnt candles and cold spaghetti still lingers in my memory, a scent that once meant celebration, but now feels like ashes of something already dead. I remember standing in the kitchen that night, clutching the small wooden box I'd spent weeks carving by hand. Every stroke of the knife, every polish of the surface carried a piece of my heart. Inside the box, I'd placed an engraved bracelet. Her name intertwined with mine, a simple promise of forever. When she came home, her perfume entered before she did. Sharp, floral and foreign. It wasn't the one I bought her. "Happy anniversary, love," I said, my voice small, hopeful. She barely looked at me. Her eyes scanned the living room like she was searching for something better. "You cooked?" she asked flatly, noticing the flickering candles and the dinner I'd prepared. "I thought we could." She sighed, interrupting. "I told you I had a long day. I'm not in the mood for this." My hand tightened around the box. Still I smiled. "Just one thing before you rest. I made something for you." She glanced at it, unimpressed. "You made it?" "Yeah," I said softly. "I carved it myself." Her lips twisted. "You're serious?" Before I could answer, she took the gift from my hands, lifted the lid, and stared at the bracelet. Then, without hesitation, she dropped the entire box into the trash can. "I don't want handmade junk, Daniel," she said coldly. "I'm not a child." For a moment I couldn't breathe. My chest felt hollow, like she had thrown a part of me in that trash along with the box. She walked to the bedroom, leaving behind her high heels by the door, two black monuments of indifference. That night I sat alone at the table, staring at the gift in the trash. The candles had melted into pools of wax, their light barely clinging to life. I wanted to believe she was just tired, just distant, just something. But deep down I knew. Because when I leaned over to pick up the box, I noticed something, a small folded note that must have fallen from her purse. A dinner receipt. 2 people. 1 bottle of champagne. 1 room key. Not my name. Not my handwriting. The following days felt like walking through fog. She smiled more suddenly, dressed better, and laughed at texts I never saw. Her phone was always face down. Her calls always private. "Work's been crazy," she'd say when I asked where she'd been. "Don't be paranoid," she'd snap when I pressed. But paranoia wasn't what I felt. It was proof scratching at my bones, begging to be found. So one night I followed her. I told myself I wouldn't. That I'd trust her, that I'd protect what was left. But trust is fragile. Once cracked, it echoes. Her car stopped outside a restaurant on 5th Avenue, the kind of place I couldn't afford, not since my company downsized. I watched from across the street, my hands trembling. And then I saw him. Tall, confident, wearing the same Rolex she once admired in a catalog. He pulled out her chair, smiled like he already owned her. She laughed, that same laugh that used to belong to me. They touched hands across the table. My stomach twisted. When she left the restaurant, she didn't come home. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the dark, staring at the space beside me. Empty, cold. My heart had been replaced by silence. The next morning she came back, acting as if nothing had happened. "Morning," she said, yawning. "You're up early." "Yeah," I replied, keeping my voice steady. "Had a lot to think about." She poured herself coffee, her nails freshly done, hair still smelling of hotel shampoo. "I wanted to talk to you," I said. She didn't look up. "Can it wait? I'm late for a meeting." "No," I said firmly. "It can't." Something in my tone froze her mid-sip. She turned, eyes narrowing. "What's this about?" I walked to the counter, pulling out the small wooden box, the one she'd thrown away. I cleaned it, repaired the crack. Inside, the bracelet glimmered faintly. "You didn't even look at what was inside," I said quietly. "Do you know what I engraved on it?" She rolled her eyes. "Daniel, I don't. It says, 'For the woman who made me believe in forever.'" My voice cracked on the last word. "Funny, right?" Her face paled. "You're being dramatic." I nodded slowly. "You're right. Maybe I am. Because I spent months planning that gift, while you were having dinner with someone else. Her breath caught. What? I placed the receipt on the counter. You left this behind. Her silence said everything. Finally she whispered, Daniel, it's not what you think. I laughed, a dry, broken sound. Then what is it, Claire? Tell me what I think. Tears welled in her eyes, but they felt rehearsed. It was a mistake. No, I said, stepping closer. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. A mistake is saying something you didn't mean. But this. I held up the receipt. This was a choice. She looked down, trembling. I didn't want to hurt you. You did, I said simply. You just didn't want to get caught. Weeks passed after she moved out. At first I was numb. The world felt quieter, emptier. But sometimes silence is the start of healing. One evening I was cleaning when I found the wooden box again. I opened it, tracing the carved letters with my thumb. Then I smiled just a little. I took the bracelet to a jeweler, had the engraving changed. Now it reads, For the man who finally chose himself. Months later I stood at a charity gala, not as a guest but as the guest of honor. My small woodworking shop, born from heartbreak, had grown into something real. A woman approached me, eyes kind. You make beautiful things, she said, admiring one of my boxes. Thank you, I replied softly. Each piece tells a story. She smiled. And this one? I looked at the box in my hand, the same design as the one she'd thrown away. This one's about letting go, I said. And how sometimes, love is what's left when you finally stop trying to prove your worth to the wrong person. She smiled, and for the first time in years, I felt something stir inside me. Not pain but peace.